Guess who's back? Back again, your hosts, the Dirty Rotten Tommy and Louis the Leg Hanley, chatting everything mental health. Welcome to the second episode of the Return to Strength podcast. And if you haven't already guessed, we are talking Lockdown the sequel. That's right, Lockdown 2. The impact that has on your mental health and the coping mechanisms to see you through it.
Yes, and before we go into them coping mechanisms, I'm going to tell you a little story or an inspirational thought that I recently had.
A story, a Jack and Ori, eh? I hope everyone's sitting comfortably.
Yes, it is a story. Well, it's more of an inspirational thought, as I said, and it's about a tree.
A tree?
It is about a tree.
Oh, mate, leaf it out. The old ones, mate. The old ones are the best.
Yes, and this tree is from the 19th century, so it's a very old tree. It's seen a lot of things, okay? It's sitting in between a cathedral and a castle, and it's protected by a fence and being held upright by pillars. Now, I related this tree to myself, and I hope a lot of people listening can relate it to themselves as well. So, as I said, this tree is protected by a fence. It sees things it doesn't necessarily want to see. Now, like humans, we have seen things in the past that we may not have wanted to have seen.
Yeah, like you in the shower.
Well, have you seen that?
Don't be rude.
You may have experienced things you may not have wanted to have experienced, and they can have a scarring effect on your life and certainly your mental health. So, again, you might not necessarily have been chosen, just like this tree, but you've been forced to see that, okay? Now, the fence that's protecting this tree, just like us, we sometimes put up barriers or fence, and that could be a good thing or it may be a bad thing depending on how you feel. Now, if you are feeling very low, I am the worst for doing it. I always put up a fence. I don't let anyone in. I blank out the world, and I just kind of, just sit feeling really low, and that's the worst thing to do. So if you're feeling like that, don't put your fence up. Let your fence down and let people in, speak to them, and they'll hopefully lift your spirits up again. However, the other side, the flip side of that is, if you are getting, carried away in everyone else's lives and you're always the go-to person and, you need some you time, put up the fence, chuck your phone away, have some time to reflect and look after yourself or whatever the word.
Yeah, me time is so
you
important.
time, yes. And yes, the last thing, the pillars holding this tree up, the most important part of this whole story is that this tree may sway side to side, it may even fall down without these pillars. Now, these pillars to me represent people, whether it's family, friends or peers. And without these, we wouldn't get through. Okay, as low as we've felt, I guarantee you most of the time someone's reached out and lifted you up, and these pillars effectively are stopping you from going off the path, and if you do, they're going to hold you upright and bring you back on the right path. So it's important that we surround ourselves with friends and family and people that are going to help us and hold us upright, as opposed to those that will otherwise do the opposite. So that is my story.
Wow!
Yeah.
That is relatable!
Thank you.
No, I think that's a really good message. And, like that tree, with everything going on in the world at the moment, coronavirus, we didn't ask to be put in this situation, but it has been thrust upon us. And thrust. Duffman thrusts. This isn't an easy time for anyone. The next few weeks and possibly months are going to be a test, a challenge for us all. And we understand that a lot of our listeners are living alone, working from home, at university, working on the front line as key workers. And, we're all going to encounter different challenges. So, we hope that this episode of the Return to Strength podcast brings some positivity, keeps the mood lifted, and we can share our experiences. And, we hope you get a little something out of this and it helps you, because it definitely helps us to offload.
Yes, so we're going to talk about Lockdown 2 and ways in which we can kind of cope, as we mentioned, and we're going to use some of the ones from Lockdown 1 that have been effective. We don't want to talk about exercise as much because we have dwelled on that so much. Everyone's talking about the importance of exercise. It is very important. Them healthy endorphins. If you're feeling really low, like I have before, I would often go out for a run, and it is nearly impossible to feel rubbish afterwards. I can guarantee you that. So if you haven't done that, please try and do it. Even if it's
helped
just a
me
walk.
immensely. I've struggled with my mental health for a very long time, and when you got me out that door and got me running, it's changed my life.
Changed your life.
It has changed my life, and it's something that I need to fit in and plan into my day, because otherwise, if I don't, I definitely feel the repercussions of it.
Yeah, but equally, you say the running and someone dragging out and doing that is important, but there's the other side of that too. Sometimes I could be feeling very down, and just reaching out to someone and saying, come on, let's go, let's do it. No, come on, no, you're doing it, and that's it. And then all of a sudden, you're not letting yourself down, you're letting someone else down if you don't do it. And that's a key point. If you've got a friend or something like that, reach out to them, be that person to lift them back up. Certainly if they've lifted you up before in the past, now's your opportunity to return the favour. Because even the stronger people, the people that are looked up upon, they're going to be struggling as well, and they need someone to reach out to them, even though you may not necessarily think that, okay?
Yeah, it's like we say, it's together that we return to strength.
Yes.
So help each other.
Fitness we mentioned, again, I don't want to talk too much about fitness. Everyone's doing it. We're going to move on to the routines and goals, which we briefly mentioned before as well, Tom, didn't we?
Yeah, routine and planning is a very important part of my life. We are people and creatures of habit, and routine offers a way to promote health and wellness through structure and organisation. And, I couldn't function without that. So, set your alarm, make time for exercise, eat a healthy breakfast, fuel that body and mind. Because, a good routine influences your quality of sleep. Because of lockdown, you might be doing less during the day, or, you might be staying up later. And then obviously that screws up your sleep pattern, and that's not good for anyone. And, everyone is unique. So not everyone requires a fully scheduled day to reap the health benefits of routine. So make the choices that work for you.
Yeah, I mean, personally me, I'm not one to plan or have a real routine as such. Certainly not now with lockdown. You plan the day a lot more than I do.
I thrive off routine.
Whereas I like to just kind of wing things a little bit.
Go with the flow.
Go with the flow, as it says, certainly during these times anyway. But I do need to get a bit of routine. I do need to start getting up a bit earlier. I am a victim of staying up later and watching and binging on TV and stuff. And that's not healthy for you, which moves us on to TV. And Netflix and the things that we watch on our phones, social media, and everything that we watch is not healthy. If you were trying to lose weight and become, more healthy, you wouldn't feed your body with terrible foods. So why would you fill your eyes and your mind with things on Netflix and your phone that are going to drag you down? Is that right, Tom?
Yeah, exactly. So put into your body, into your mind, what you want to get out of it. So, like Louis saying, if you're putting in, if you're watching loads of apocalyptic films at the moment with everything going on, that ain't going to help you, is it? You know what I mean? You just look at some positive films, just listen to some positive music. Those kind of things will get you through the day.
Yeah, so I mean, I've started to watch a little bit about the cooking series that are on Netflix, and as boring as that may sound, there's actually some really good ones on there, and they kind of inspired me to then go out and cook a little bit and experiment a little bit. Yeah, so that could be a healthy way of doing things. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love a good chick flick or a movie that's going to bring a little tear to my eye. I mean, The Notebook does it every time for me.
Yeah, you're very in touch with your feminine side, I've always
Thank
noticed.
you very much, dear. Yes, I do love a little chick flick.
So what film makes you laugh, though? What makes your side split?
Yeah, what about you? What film makes you laugh then, Tom?
For me, I think a classic, something that I've watched probably 1 million times, has got to be Step Brothers.
Become best friends. Yep. You want to go do karate in the garage?
That is some funny shit, mate. I love that. I love that film. It's so funny.
Yeah, Step Brothers. For me, it's Chuck and Larry get married. I love that film. It brings a different kind of concept, comedy and stuff. It's made me chuckle out loud. So there you go. Watch films that are going to make you laugh. Laughter is key. I mean, it's so contagious. I've watched things and I've actually just heard someone laughing on the street, and I've started to laugh out loud. And that, I don't even know what they're laughing at. It's just a very contagious thing. Laughter is very good, it's healthy. So
the best medicine.
It is. It 100% is. You need to laugh as much as possible, and use your family to laugh. Sit down, tell each other stories. If you've got someone a bit older at home, go and ask them a story. Find out something about their life in the past, and I'm sure they'd love to speak about that. Certainly during these times, that can be very encourageable to hear about past stories and stuff. I love a good old story, mate.
Yeah. So what other different things can we be doing during lockdown to keep our minds occupied?
Well, we've mentioned DIY, an opportunity for them jobs that you really don't want to do.
Yeah, if your wife's been nagging you, fix
or
that
your
dripping
husband.
tap. Yeah, or your husband.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, try and do them if you can, because you'll feel a sense of achievement after it. You might not necessarily want to do it. You might not necessarily enjoy doing it. But after you fix that wonky cupboard or that drawer that's not been closing properly, or that half-painted wall in the back room, when you finally do it, you'll feel a sense of achievement, and again, that releases good vibes, and then you can feel a bit more, I can go and binge on 3 hours of Netflix now because I've spent 10 minutes painting the wall. Do you know what I mean? Try and do these good things. Other things we mentioned, what else did we mention, Tom? Art, you like art, don't you?
I do love art. Yeah, art is it's very good for me because
That's good for me.
it's very good for me because I struggle heavily with anxiety. And so normally my mind is going 10 million miles an hour and, it's questioning everything and getting worrying about everything. So when I do a bit of art, do a bit of painting, a bit of drawing, whatever like that, it manages to slow my mind right down and I'm concentrating on what I'm doing and I kind of drift away as well. I think about other things and get really involved in it and it's very therapeutic. It's very calming for me.
Yeah, I mean, you can link that back as well to being in school and primary school, secondary school, or at home when you were young as a kid. You've always done some kind of form of art. And I always associate with me getting out of maths and English because when we got to do art, it was like, yes, we don't have to do any of the boring stuff. But, so, that can bring back them healthy memories and them memories, you maybe otherwise have forgotten. So if you sit down and maybe put pen to paper, it might bring back memories that may, again, help you deal with getting through this time and thinking of happier memories and stuff like that. So, yes, that's another one. Art. Reading, again, very similar to art, I guess. You're focusing on a thing and a story, but if you're going to read a book, don't be reading anything about the man next door, murdering his family or anything like that. That is not going to help anybody.
Yeah, inspirational
Certainly
books.
if he looks
Things
scary
that
enough
give you
as
that
it is.
positive vibe, definitely. I love a good read. Yeah, keep away from the scary stuff. Keep away from the stuff that's going to drag you down. Keep it positive, guys. Keep it positive.
And what about, you have a nice story you told me this morning about the little walk you had on Sunday, Tom.
Yeah, so on Sunday, me, my missus and my 4-year-old daughter always go for a walk in these local woods, which we've done it every Sunday for a very long time. It's good to get out in the fresh air. But this Sunday we thought we need to jazz it up a little bit for her. We need to get her, burn off some more energy because obviously, she's being stuck indoors a little bit more. So we decided to put on a fairy kind of trail.
Fairies.
So I wrote little notes and tied little bits of string around them. We hung them up on the trees and I buried things in the soil.
What?
I buried things in the soil.
You bury things in the soil
Yeah,
in
not
the
with
middle of
missus
the
or my
woods
daughter.
with a bald head, a big beard, and loads of tattoos.
Yeah, well, I guess it didn't look great, you know what I mean? It looks like, what's his name? Charles Bronson's escaped from prison. But, no, it was very, very innocent. And, it kept her interested, got her imagination going. And we had a great little walk around the woods and, collecting fairy stones, feathers and reading these little messages out to her. And she absolutely loved it.
Yes, that's a fantastic
So
idea.
get creative is
Brilliant
what I'm trying
idea.
to get to. Yeah, sorry.
So if you have kids, well, I don't personally, but if you have kids, even if you don't want to go to the woods and look like Charles Bronson, it's just escaped. But you can do that in your household. If you want to stay at home, you can put these post-it notes. We used to use post-it notes when I used to coach, and as a little warm-up, the kids would come in and you'd put 1, 2 and 3 on them, and 3 being the most points, 2 being obviously 2 and 1 being 1. And you'd hide them around, you'd jot them around the house or around the hall, and the kids would go and find them. And it brings an element of, I found something, an achievement, and then obviously a bit of competitive side if you've got a competitive family and stuff like that. And also, if you've only put 10 post-it notes out and the kids have found all 10, just say there's 11 and just have them look for it for an extra 20, 30 minutes. It's a perfect opportunity to have a bit of you time. But we mentioned music as well before. Music is, again, fill yourself with loads of good, feel-good music. I think that's important. What kind of feel-good music do you think for us, Tom? Do you have any songs that make you feel good?
Anything that's going to get you up and moving, anything that's going to kind of get you bopping around the house and getting those chores done, you know what I mean? Anything that's going to keep it positive. Don't start listening to, the Smiths and the Cure, even though they're great artists. They're probably going to bring you down, you know what I mean? So keep it fun, keep it positive, keep it, something that you've always enjoyed. That album that you could constantly always play.
Yes, or one that, doesn't bring back sad memories, because I've often been driving in the car and something's come on the radio and I'm like, oh no, this reminds me of someone who's died. So
yeah, you need something to keep you moving, you know what I mean?
Try not to play. Oh!
Can you feel that? It's getting me going, I'm bopping now, mate.
There we go. So songs like that. I mean, how good did that make you feel? So not sad music that's going to get you down, things that are going to lift your spirit up, and you and your family or yourself, even in your house, look in your mirror with your hairbrush in your hand, can have a little sing and dance along too. So we've covered that. I did notice though when I came in here today, Tom, you've got a little bit of a few features added.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Basically, I am the first person to kick off and complain if someone puts their Christmas decorations up early or is listening, or, you go tune into the radio and they're putting Christmas songs on in November. But with everything going on in the world, You know, me and my missus have tried to shield our little girl from everything, but she still absorbs things like a sponge, and she gets worried and why is it still virus day, etc., etc. So we thought on Sunday, do you know what, we're going to put the Christmas decorations
You've
up
done a lot
early.
on Sunday.
We did do a lot on Sunday. We got to keep busy, mate. Like I said, routine, planning.
You could have
know what I mean?
spaced that out
Structure.
over the week, though. It would have made your week up a bit more.
No, mate, I've got plenty of ideas. I'm full of them. I'm bubbling over. So we decided to put the Christmas decorations up for her. So we even put the Christmas music on. We was listening to Mariah Carey, a bit of Wham, you know what I mean, getting you in the mood. We whacked the tree up. She don't like tinsel, my missus, so we had beads and all the lights and everything. Yeah, the whole show. It was good, and my daughter absolutely loved it. It's got her very, very excited. And now every morning when she comes downstairs, she thinks. It keeps her, keeps her excited. She knows Christmas is on its way. And I recommend that to anyone. You know what I mean? Whack your decks up, guys. You know what I mean? Just think of the good things in life.
Yes, and I mean, again, there's a key point there. If you have kids, their happiness can rub off on you. So if you've done something to put the Christmas decorations up, as difficult as that may be at times, stressful, I've got to climb up the attic, I've got to take it down, it's going to punch me in the face a little bit with the prickles on the end of it, and that piece is missing. Oh, this is stressful, I've missed this bubble. Where's the angel that goes on the top of the star? Oh, it's so stressful. But then at the end, when
the moment your daughter smiles at you,
exactly, it's all worthwhile, and you instantly feel happy and a sense of
your
relief.
heart melts and you feel great.
And achievements, again, we talk about achievements as key, feel good. So we have also mentioned reading, treasure hunt, Christmas. We've mentioned pretty much a lot of things.
Hasn't your mum taken up a bit of a new hobby?
She has, yes. Upcycling.
Keeping herself busy.
Upcycling, that's a good point, actually. Yes, so what she does is she buys furniture, or she uses furniture that she's had through times past, and she'll spruce them up, she'll jazz them up, she'll add features to them, change the handles on them, sand it down, paint it. Just make it look a lot more appealing than it first looked, a little more urban or a little bit more up to date. And either she'd sell that or use it, to put around the house or wherever she may decide to put it. But the message in there is that something that my mum's always had an eye for, interior design and jazzing things up, and she's never really had the time to do it because she's been distracted with work, family, and just normal day-to-day things. So I think this 4 weeks is a perfect opportunity for individuals that may have had that dream or idea in the back of their mind, even as a kid. Obviously, as a kid, most people wanted to be like, professional footballer or something like that. That's what I wanted to be anyway. But the older you get, the more realistic your goals become. Do you like the
I
pun
wanted to
there?
be a rock star, and that was never going to happen because I didn't have any talent.
You look like one, so you achieved half of it. But yeah, so if you can somehow dive back into that idea that you once had and use this as an opportunity to just give it a go. It might not work, you might fail epically, but at least you can say you've given it a go. I think the worst thing in life is saying that, what if I had tried this? I could be this or it could be that. Try it. Not everyone might be agreeing on what you're doing and think it's a bit silly, a bit crazy. But that doesn't matter. It's what you want at the end of the day. And if it's something that you want to do, give it a go. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? It might not work, but you've learned from it. And now you know that you've tried it and it may not have worked. So give them little ideas or dreams that you may have once had a go, as crazy as they may be, because that is another perfect opportunity to take advantage of lockdown too.
Exactly that, man. I couldn't agree more.
I think there's one last thing, there's a couple of things to mention, but on the lockdown 2 thing, it's important to reach out to people. And I think certainly if, there's people, a neighbour and they live alone, send a note in with your number attached and say, look, if you need me to go and get a new pair of fluffy pink flip-flops or slippers or whatever it may be, or groceries, just, please get in contact, because that is important. As relaxed as the second lockdown as it kind of seems to me, as opposed to the first lockdown, it's still important to reach out to people that may not be able to get around and get about. But yes, I think that moves us on to one of our second last points, which was the great feedback and emails and, everything that we got sent in recently after following our first podcast, Tom, didn't we?
Yeah, so, we did ask you that if you had something to say, you wanted us to discuss a particular topic, or maybe you wanted to share a story or some advice, or maybe you just want us to give a shout out, you know what I mean? Mention something you're doing in lockdown, or maybe you're potentially raising some money for mental health. No, we're mentioning it in the podcast. So somebody has, hasn't they?
Yes, someone got in touch and just give us an idea of how they got through lockdown 1, which I thought was quite funny. I mean, we all know about the Zoom quizzes.
I was well
You've done
involved
one,
in it.
haven't you?
Yeah, I did that with some of my mates from uni in lockdown 1, and it was a right giggle.
Yeah. How did you get on?
Well, I was consistently the winner.
Oh.
And
Wow.
you know, I'm gonna admit it now. I'm an absolute cheat, right? So when it was all going on the old computer, I was googling every question. So now my mates are going to hear this and they are going to know that,
Never getting invited again.
Yes, I'm a deceitful person.
Well, apart from that, I mean, they are quite good when you're not like Tom and be a cheat. Which is always in the back of my mind when I do these quizzes. I bet he's on his phone and she's on his phone cheating while I am getting like 3 points and look daft.
Yeah, let's be realistic. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know the capital of Uganda.
No, that's
You?
fine. No, I don't.
No, I don't. And who the fifth Russian president was. So, you know what I mean? And that's why Google was invented.
Yeah, okay, I'll give you that. But I mean, no one likes a cheater. But yeah, so this couple, basically, they were doing the Zoom quizzes and they thought they'd spruce up a bit. So they were doing it with other couples that are friends. And what they'd done is dressed up as each other, which I thought was very funny. So they dressed up, you know, as the opposite, the person, you know, whether male or female, whoever it may be. And they sat down and shared a few drinks and had a laugh and a giggle and done this quiz, which I thought was a nice little touch. So a themed quiz night on Zoom is another idea.
That could be a giggle, couldn't it? That would be a laugh, mate. You know, can you imagine you in a pair of stockings and a bra?
Well, it sounds like you
It's
have
because I'm a
imagined
dirty
it.
girl.
Yeah, but before we do kind of go on, I think, we need people to get in contact, don't we, Tom? Well,
yeah, we
would
do
like
need
to.
people to get in contact. So like the things that I mentioned and started over earlier, you know, you need to email support@returntostrength.co.uk or slide into our DMs at Return to Strength. So yeah, that's important. And also, just before we conclude this podcast, I think what's really important as well is that we haven't forgot the competitions that we put out there. The Return to Strength poses, and you know, if we got over 8,888 followers.
Mm-hmm.
It's over 9,000!
Yes, it is.
It's way over 9,000. We're closer to 10,000. It keeps, you know, fluctuating a bit. And we can't thank you enough. But we haven't forgot about the competitions, and we are going to announce the winners in the next couple of days. We've got carried away with the podcast and everything going on in the world. But yes, you will know who those people are.
Yes, you will indeed. And as we know, you know how to get in contact with us now. Please do get in contact with us. We've got loads of videos, as we say, on there, full of inspiration. And I think that just about concludes our second ever podcast. But before we go, I just want to say one last thing.
Get the fuck out of here!
What's he like? Have a good one, guys. Take care.